The way to do this is what's called a before filter. Let's go into the controller here, the user's controller. So what we're going to do is add a before filter. And this actually used to be called before filter, but now it's called before action because it's a standard behavior that happens before particular actions. Before action, and what we do here is we give it a symbol that's the name of the before filter. In this case, I'm going to say it's logged in user. That's what I want to indicate that it should be a logged in user. And most of these pages do not require a user, right? This show, new, create, we do not need a logged in user for these, so it should just be these two, the edit and update actions. So we can say only, and then give it an array of symbols corresponding to the actions that we want to protect with this before filter. And then at the bottom, in this private section, I'm going to add some before filters. We'll add more later on. So I just like to put a comment in. All right, so what should happen here? Well, unless the user is logged in, we should redirect to the login URL. That's this here from our mockup. And we should put a flash message in here first. So this is really going to be a danger. This could be someone trying to break in. Plus, it really is just the kind of thing that I like the color. It's the red color. So let's put in a flash message unless logged in. So unless, remember we have this helper, our sessions helper. We've got this nice, helpful logged in question mark method. Unless logged in, we want to make a flash message. Please log in, and then we should redirect to the login URL. Now you might notice that our test suite just went red. See if you can guess why. We can look in the test here. So this is the well, we can see what went red. So it's the user's edit test. The first one is line 15. Actually, that's the second one, but you can see here this is not working. It's saying assert template users edit, but in fact what happened, it says rendering with, I don't even know what that is. It's kind of strange. And the other one is, let's see, line 27, assert redirected to @user, but in fact it was redirected to the login page. Oh, and I know what this is now. This is saying that it was just that nothing was rendered, and that's true. It says assert template, but because it was a redirect, actually no template got rendered. So the reason for this is we just put in this filter requiring that users be logged in, but in fact users aren't logged in here. So to get that to work, remember we've got a helper for this. In test helper, we have a login as method. So let's put that to use here. Where is it here? So let's log in. Oops, log in as @user. It's going to be the same thing in both of these. Oops, I put it in the wrong place here. Our test will catch that though. We should have one failure now. Oops, wait a minute. That's really weird. I expected that to be red. Let me save this. That's really strange. Oh, I know why. So we actually should probably add a test here. So what happened here is that this is getting the edit user path and it's getting redirected. Then it's logging in and then it's issuing a direct patch request to the user path. But so this is actually the only thing that requires the user to be logged in. So we should probably, after get edit user path, we should have assert we should do this. We should have another assertion. We should assert template users edit. There we go. That'll catch it. So this should go red. Yeah, so that's good. And so now we can move this. the right place. Great. Let's check the behavior of our application. Go here. Actually, I can just refresh this, but yeah, let's just do that. Refresh this. It should redirect. There we go. Please log in. Great. It's usually a good idea when you add something security related just to double check that, in fact, the test suite goes red if you comment it out. You can see here, in fact, the test suite is not red. It's green. So as useful as integration tests are, I feel like it's really important to have an extra layer, especially with anything that involves security. I think it's good to have access control tests at the controller level. So let's take a look at that. Show you what I mean by that. This is integration. We want test controllers, users controller. Now we could actually incorporate these tests into an integration test, but I think it's a lot clearer to put them in the controller test, because what we really want to emphasize here is how we're handling the access to each of these actions. So in this case, what we want to do is issue a GET request to the edit page, or the edit action rather, and issue a patch request directly to update, and verify in both cases that if the user isn't logged in, they get redirected to the login URL. So to do that, we need to do this first. We need to have an @user. And then let's test the redirection for the edit and update actions. So here we want to get the edit page directly. The way, remember, that we do GET requests inside controllers or controller tests is different from the integration test. So here we do a GET with the edit user path, but here we're dealing with just the actions. This is a limitation of controller tests, of course, that we can only get these actions for a particular controller. But in this case, it's really nice to have a correspondence between the actions here in the test and the actions in the actual controller. So I'm going to get edit, give it an ID, the ID of @user. We could do @user.id. This will work, but as is often the case in Rails, there's an implicit conversion to the ID. And I want to assert that it's redirected to the login URL. Save this. You can see we have a failure there. And actually, we can be really fine-grained here if we want. We can uncomment this and get rid of this. Save that. Now it should be green, because now we're protecting edit. Right? And we can do the same thing for update. Here we issue a patch request to update. We need to give it an ID, and we need to give it a user hash with name and email. This actually fits. You can see it's just only 77 columns. And then we want the same thing, assert redirected to login URL. So this should go red. We got an exception here. What happened? Oh, I see. You can see here that it says that test should redirect edit when not logged in is already defined. And that's because I forgot to change the name here. This should say update. Save that. Now it should be green. I'm sorry, it should be red. We've got to red. And now we want to do this. Now it should be green. Great. This is another one of those things that as you gain experience with testing, I do recommend writing first. Access control is exactly the kind of thing that can go horribly wrong and give malicious users complete access to your site. But whether you write the tests before the application code or after, I think it's essential to write good tests for anything security related, including access control. Let's run the full test suite again just to double check. All right, we're good to go.